questions I see a lot in the witchcraft community is whether you're using the right herb or crystal, whether it's the right deity or the right colour for the spell or thing that you're trying to achieve. Today I want to talk about correspondences, where they come from, where and why creating your own can make your practice so much more personal and powerful and intuitive. So grab that cup of tea, let's get to it. So before we begin, what is a correspondence? Basically, it's the association between magical tools and what they mean, what they're associated with. For example, rose goes with love. And there are so many that are deeply entrenched in our beliefs, our cultures, our societies, and spoken about a lot in witchcraft. But can we make our own? Let's talk about it. So for me, traditional correspondences are basically a starting point. They're something where I can look up and find out what those correspondences or associations are. They provide a really strong foundation for your spell work when you're starting out. A lot of them have cultural or historical significance, and learning the traditional meanings behind them can help you build up your knowledge, your understanding of spells and spell work, as well as folklore and witchcraft throughout the ages and eras. And they can stop you from feeling overwhelmed, I think. There's a stake in the ground. This is what it means. This is the thing, you know, and it feels really calming to know that there's a reason why I'm using this herb or that crystal in a certain spell. I still use traditional correspondences all the time when I'm designing spells, but I see them rather than being a rule book, they're more of a guide. And I think that difference can be quite important in your witchcraft practice. So where did all these correspondences come from? Where did it begin? I think it's important to remember that all these correspondences come from humans. They really do. They come from folk magic traditions, they come from astrology as well, they come from planetary associations, historical herbalism or historical culture, religion, as well as cultural references, and all these things mash up together and become these things that we watch witches on here and read books about, saying this means this means this. It's like a little melting pot of ancestors and history and mythology that all comes together to make this wonderful meaning behind everything around us that's natural. Some examples of this can be things like why Mars is associated with courage and action. Back in Victorian times and Edwardian times, it was really cool to like send flowers with meaning behind them. For example, if they were really fancied somebody, they could send them a pink rose to say I'm interested in you, or red roses for I'm in love with you, like we still do now. And I think it's really important to remember that all these cultural things, all these historical reasons and meanings behind things, they all came from humans. And I'm a human, just like they were humans. Just because they're in the past doesn't mean they're right. And I think sometimes you can look at the meaning of something in a book, but yet when you come to work with that crystal or work with that flower, it doesn't feel that way to you. And that can be because you're from a different culture, because of your age, it can be because of your life experiences. But it's so important to remember that these are associations that humans have put to things. And this is because personal symbolism matters. It really does. And this is what sometimes worries me, is a lot of witchcraft books, a lot of YouTube videos of witchcraft are done from the American point of view or the Canadian point of view. There's not many Australian witches, there's not many Ukrainian witches, for example. And so it worries me that sometimes the cultural shifts, the remembering that an American witch is going to see things completely differently to me, an English witch. And you may be from a completely different country altogether to both, and so you see colours or crystals or flowers completely differently again. When it comes to your personal point of view, so much comes into that. For example, your experiences in life, like a flower from your granddad's garden might feel protective for you, even though in a book it might say it's for passion, and it might be like, but it's from my granddad's garden, that's protective to me. You don't have to then change and be like, oh, I can't use this flower in this, I have to use it for this. Your beliefs also meld in with that. And I think it's important to remember that the things that make sense to you, the way you see the world, the way you perceive things, will change the spell. I think magic becomes so much more special and means so much more when it comes from your personal beliefs, your personal experiences, than just copying things that you read in a book or see on a video. I've spoken a lot here on the channel about decolonising my practice. Colonisation is a big problem here in the UK, obviously. I think we colonised something like a third of the world at one point, and we have a lot of historical artefacts and a lot of ways of thinking that we've just kind of taken from other countries. It's been really important to me to rephrase things and to really make sure that I'm not just taking from other cultures. And that can be done very easily and accidentally by just copying out of books that are written by authors from other cultures, other countries, other colours and race to ourselves. It's really important to remember that not every single correspondence is universal. And I know that you can buy like Llewellyn's complete correspondences books and things like that. I have them myself and they are very useful again at the beginning, but I think as you're stepping into creating your own spells, it's important to look at the history of why a certain crystal has a certain meaning behind it, or why a flower has a certain meaning. Is it because it's from another culture? Like for me, I don't work with the moon all that much. I know I work with Hecate, but I'm not a moon girly. I love working with the sun. Anyway, beside the point. The point is, a lot of people who do work with the moon will say things like, it's a blue moon, it's a strawberry moon, it's a wolf moon. And so I was like, I don't understand what all this is. So I started looking into it, and every single one was from a different Native American tribe. And I thought to myself, oh, should I be doing that? Because I'm not American, and I'm definitely not a member of a Native American tribe. There must be more information behind this, but all I could find was, we celebrate the wolf moon on this date and it comes from here. And it felt really uncomfortable. I think we have to start really respecting where practices have originated and respecting that different things have different meanings in different cultures. For an example, if you watch an American YouTuber's videos and they're talking about colours, they might say use a green candle for money and abundance. In England, green means healing. So if I was going to do a healing spell, I would use a green candle. I would not use green because our money isn't green. And so that association has never caught on here in the UK. Remembering that and thinking around that is very important. You also have to remember that some plants are sacred in some cultures, and so you wouldn't use, say, a native Australian plant if you're English. Hello, my baby! Come and say hello to everyone. Say hello! Hello, baby. It's your reminder to drink your water. So the goal is not to have a fear of making mistakes. The goal is instead to approach traditions and correspondences and anything in your craft with respect, and make sure you do your research. What do you think, Twig? I agree. So let's talk about intuition versus historical sources, because I think We need to balance both of them. Our historical sources can give context. They can help us connect with older traditions. They can help us connect with ancestors. They can help us to gain a structure to our knowledge and to understand the symbolism. But your intuition gives you the meaning. My personal experiences will be different to anybody else's on the planet. So when I'm making a spell for myself, I'm going to fill it with correspondences that mean something to me. They might not come out of books. It might be very chaotic and very unusual, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. I think your emotions matter, your spiritual connections and beliefs matter, the spirits and gods that you work with matter. All these things, including the country that you come from, the experiences you've had in your life, the people around you, they all matter when it comes to building up your own correspondences. And you can definitely start writing these things out in a grimoire of some kind if you have real, like, you want to get it all down in books. I mean, the only reason that we have certain correspondences for certain things that are like officially or widely understood and accepted is because witches back in the day wrote down their thoughts and feelings about all of these things back then in their own grimoires. The most balanced way of doing this is to learn from history, but also allow your own experiences to flow through and help you to understand and process everything that you're working with, all your tools and herbs and plant allies. So how do you build your own magical language or your own magical correspondences? I think the most simplest way is through journal writing. Writing down your spells, writing down your experiences, keeping a journal, writing down the herbs as you work with them and meditate with them and get to know them, your crystals, the colours that you work with, the animals or the spirits that you work with, the symbols, the tarot cards, everything. Write it down. Get it down in a book, a journal, somewhere. You can write down the traditional meanings first if you want to, your personal experiences, your dreams, your emotional responses to working with certain things. All these things all together are then going to help you to figure out your personal correspondences for everything that you work with. You can ask yourself questions in this journal. Things like, what does this remind me of? How does it make me feel? What emotions come up? What memories does it bring up for me? What energy does it bring into my life? And over time, you will start to see patterns emerging. And it's within those patterns that you can then start adding certain plants and crystals into your practice. It's a really fun way of doing things, and it makes it very personal so that you and only you know the ways that this spell is going to work in your life. Now you can do this practice with anything. I'm going to use my walking stick because we did a spell on my walking stick. There are sigils on here that I drew and little symbols and things. When people look at it, they probably just think, oh, that's witchy. But there are protection sigils on here. There are sigils on here for balance and for protection. This walking stick goes everywhere with me. It is the thing that holds me up. It allows me to walk further than I can without it. It allows me to reach for things. It allows me to move around and do so much more than I could without it. This is freedom. This is balance. This is feeling safe. This is so much more than just a stick that I walk with. So how you see a walking stick and how I see a walking stick are going to be completely different. This particular walking stick means so much to me because I put so much of myself into it and I use it every single day. The correspondences that go along with this walking stick, they weren't there when I bought it. You know, it just had a pretty blue pattern to it and that was it. But over time it's come to mean so much. And I think it's important to remember that anything can be just a stick or just a flower or just a rock to anybody. But to you, it will mean something completely different. I think it's important to remember that traditional correspondences are great teachers. It's wonderful. It's a great way to learn from our ancestors and the people who walked this earth before us. But they don't have to be the end final word. Witchcraft is a living practice. It needs to be able to breathe and move and change over time. Things change, and witchcraft has to change, and our practice has to change. It has to evolve continuously. Remember that the correspondences that are widely distributed or came up years ago are not necessarily how things are going to feel to us. It's okay to say lavender means this to this person, but it means this to me. And it's perfectly fine that you can create a whole dictionary of correspondences that are completely different to everybody else's. It's perfectly valid, it's perfectly okay. So let me know, have you ever given different correspondences to a colour or a plant? Or are you somebody who looks it up in those books every single time so you know that your spell is going to work exactly how it's supposed to? No matter how your magic works, as long as it works, it's doing good. You're doing good. So I would love to hear from you. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you got something out of it. If you did, don't forget you can leave this video a cheeky like, comment, subscribe. All these things are free and they help me know and the YouTuberverse know that you enjoyed the video, and it'll share it out just that little bit more. Take care everyone. Have a wonderful magical week, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.